He's alive. If you guys saw that previous video I did today, he was just dead. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna put something up and have some fun with the comments and stuff like that. You guys actually liked the video, so it was really nice of you guys. It was just a fun little discussion topic, you know, talking about what team will lose first. And I think that I think I said it would be I think due to the volatility of Team Liquid being in North America, I think they'll lose first. But
volatility of Team Liquid being in America.
Well, the volatility of best of ones. I think Griffin is going to be the second LCK team to go undefeated because Griffin can prepare for other games. So if they lose game 1, it doesn't matter. They can just prepare for games 2 and 3 and just beat the teams. The only team that's ever beaten them yet is Sandbox, and then game 3 they clapped them, and then G2's only been challenged by Excel and who?
You mean the bottom teams?
Yeah.
The fact that they're kind of losing more often to the bottom teams than anybody.
But that was like twice, and they after that they beat them just by macro.
I mean,
and
again, they didn't beat my macro on the Excel game. Excel literally
that
just
was
didn't.
Caps carrying.
No, I mean, yeah, but Excel literally just didn't close out the game. Like they had the lead, not as substantially, but they still had it.
And then you have Team Liquid, and I think only Cloud9 and FlyQuest have challenged them in the games that we saw.
And even Cloud9's wasn't even that much. I mean, the two top teams, I don't think
Cloud9 and FlyQuest at least put up a fight.
I mean,
the other teams just fell over.
I don't know if I would really only give that credit to FlyQuest. I think FlyQuest was the one that I would say this is kind of a situation where I could see them losing.
But I like Griffin and G2. The reason why I say they're gonna go undefeated is because they won. They're just winning in lane. Like you're not getting a chance to get out of lane. You're not getting a chance to play your comp. They're just beating you in your lane.
The thing about it is, I see G2 getting exploited more often against the lower class teams, and when these kind of higher class teams kind of formulate a little bit better, I could see them losing a game. On top of the fact that I think that the competition in EU is a lot higher than it is in 8A, so I would have to say the Team Liquid probably loses that.
But that's why I said Team Liquid because
G2.
Because Team Liquid doesn't win like the way Griffin and G2 do. They don't win by their laning phase. So what if like next week or a couple weeks after this we watch it? They don't have to go 0-2, but like what if there's a team like Clutch and they draft an extreme early game comp against Team Liquid and then just beat them by early game? Team Liquid isn't known for their early game.
Again, what I'm saying is there's not enough competition in NA to really challenge Team
no,
Liquid
like just the way North America is, that volatility of just that happening.
I mean, volatility doesn't extend to everybody in the... I mean, I don't think Team Liquid's really volatile. They've been pretty consistent.
So you think they're all three going to go 18-0?
I think that if anybody's going to lose a game, it's going to be G2 because, again, there's more competition.
We're going to make a bet. I think Team Liquid's going to lose a game. All right, so the loser this has to buy food for one another.
I buy your food anyway. Shut up.
What? I'm gonna get you a Piglet jersey, and you have to wear it on stream for a 100 subscriber special.
That's never gonna happen.
All right, so today we're actually speaking of EU. Oh, but thank you guys for watching the video because it takes a lot of effort on me to talk to the camera, right? All right, so EU concluded today, and we have some games to talk about. We'll kind of quickly recap today and then go over tomorrow. So what do you think about Fnatic versus Splyce?
I mean, I honestly think this is the best Fnatic's looked in pretty much every single game they've been in so far. I think that...
I like their game today.
Yeah, but with the addition of Fight 9.3, I think that just with the... Like, what's it called? The revert back into crit for ADCs, I think that gives a lot of power to Reckless because now I feel like he can carry a lot better on what I would say. I don't like on-hit ADCs. I don't really think they're incredibly good. I think they're good against tanks, but just kind of why tanks weren't great in the meta. But again, and again, IE was also really good into tanks. So I think with this, it's going to give a lot of power back to tanks in this.
Oh my goodness, that's girls.
Dude, just turn off your volume.
Girls are talking to me.
Yeah. So I think this is going to give a lot of power back to tanks because the general build path that is good into tanks is going to be... I mean, the general build path for ADCs is going to be a little bit worse than the tanks. On top of the fact that... Again, I think that, that's one positive for Boypo because I think he's a lot better on tanks than he is carries right now. What are you laughing about?
Just XL. I just noticed their record. It's so bad.
That's very funny.
Oh god.
But I think that on top of the fact, I think that I can see Fnatic because this is the cleanest they've looked in a long time. Hylissang looked like ever.
I'm not gonna say this. I'm not gonna say they played tremendously amazing.
They did.
From today, they're gonna have to prove that they're at least a top tier team.
I mean, they can prove
5
it.
Weeks of looking bad.
But we're only looking at this game right now. Again, I think that with the meta shifting, on top of the fact that I think Hylissang bounced back really well this week, like he was the most valuable player this day.
I think today showed. I think today will show why Splyce will not make it in the playoffs. Them picking late game and just like losing.
Fnatic,
showed that they were competent enough to beat them. It just like...
I'm sorry, Splyce just doesn't do anything. They just sit there. Even if they get the lead, they continually try and push it out into the late game.
And Fnatic proved today, all you have to do is just beat them early on, and then you just win. So Splyce, looking from today, I don't think they're going to make it in the playoffs. Origen versus Excel, what do you think about that one?
What are we looking back on the days?
We're just going to quickly recap it really fast.
Origen versus Excel, I think that Origen didn't... I mean...
Origen's coming into their own form now. It looks like it.
I mean, it kind of looks like it. I don't think they're incredibly good. I think that they're really macro-based, but I think that just their team in general is just weak landing phase-wise. And that's going to be a really big detriment. I think they're going to make playoffs above Splyce because I just think that their ability to shot call is going to be what puts them over the edge on Splyce.
Plus, their players know how to be proactive.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that's enough. I think they're going to be the single last place team into the playoffs. I think they're going to get 6th place. Then they're going to get pretty much knocked out in the first round because, again, I think their shot calling is pretty decent. It's not incredibly good, but, I mean, that's probably their biggest strength. But, I mean, Mithy is playing pretty okay. I think he's playing better than he has played in, 2 years now.
I think it's literally just still Nuke Duck and Cold carrying.
I mean, yeah, Cold was the best player on this team. Cold played out of his mind today.
Because I think... Last year he played like this, and it was just like Unicorns of Love just wasn't the team to facilitate that for him.
Cold played better than he's played. Yeah. that was just above, way beyond. If you guys
didn't know, Excel, I forgot to mention this too. No, but they didn't say that on Reddit. It was Excel switched out Sheepy, Unicorns of Love's coach, who went to SK for another person. Was it Broken Shard or what his name was? And then they still lost. So yeah, it is not looking good. No, my bad. That was for SK. SK switched out someone. Excel switched out their mid laner for special, and they still lost because their ADC is just too heavy to carry. Vitality lost to SK. That was really surprising. I thought Vitality was substantially much more better than SK. That has the coaching swap with Sheepy to Broken Shard.
Yeah. So honestly, if I'm gonna have to choose, I don't think this was a good indicator of what the strengths of either team. To be honest, I don't think either of these teams played completely well. But, I do want to give credit to Origen because I think that they're coming a little bit back into... not back into form, but they do have a few strengths that they can rely on in Cold.
They're getting a form.
Well, yeah, I'm not getting a form. I would say that they have strengths they can rely on. I think their form has been pretty settled. I think they've been one of the better teams in terms of their potential. They're closest to it. I think that Origen, again, doesn't have as high potential as a lot of these teams, maybe... But what I do think they do possess is what I would say is a really strong jungler. I think that's probably gonna be their strongest player this year. I think they have a pretty strong mid laner. Well, actually, I wouldn't say their strongest player is the jungle. It's a really big toss up between him and
Duck of a Nuke.
Yeah, Nuke Duck. I think that Nuke Duck played really well, more games than Cold did, but Cold played a lot better today. It's been a toss up between them for me, in my opinion. So these are going to be your two strengths to play through. I think that if you want to see... if Origen does succeed, it's going to be more so playing passive in the side lanes, and then it's going to be more reliant on the proactivity between the mid and the jungle. And just shot calling. But past that, if they can get past the early game, I think they're fine.
I think Origen's strength is still going to lie from Nuke Duck also being a proactive player too, because if he's on a late game mid laner, it doesn't look like they do anything at all for a bit. Yeah. And then SK beating
Oops. Almost started the game.
Copyright strike.
Oh yeah, I don't think we'd get copyright strike.
Ooh, copy strike.
So I think that.
But overall,
where are you going?
What did you think about the day after that? Because after that, Schalke beat Rogue in a really convincing fashion.
Rogue.
They looked better.
Rogue didn't look that much better. Again, I really wish they could have kept Prophet, but I'm still hoping this is a setup for they're getting. They're getting an ADC
God given.
Vander was a great pickup. I think he played fine, but this is just not the team for him. This is not a team you can succeed on. So Vander's been pretty decent. I'm really hoping that the reason they brought him in is to bring in a new ADC, and that's why they got rid of Prophet, because they also, if they want to bring in another person, they have to get rid of Prophet. So I'm assuming this is all a setup. I think that Finn, I want to see a little bit more from him before I really decide on him. But
yeah, I only saw one game, and I can't really say what he's like based off one game.
But
and plus, he's on Rogue too. He could go with another team and look completely different though.
Let's be honest. The biggest weaknesses of this team are going to be mid and bot. So even if they got Forgiven's just as good as he's hyped up to be, they still have an insane weakness in the mid lane.
That's not good.
I'm kind of sad. I thought he was pretty average last year, but he's just not lived up to that level. So
yeah, Schalke just showed why you can't like the LEC is so different now that or EU is like second place looks like ninth place just looks so much different than second place. Like Schalke, it's just completely different.
I mean, I don't even think Schalke's a clear-cut defined second anymore.
I think they are. After today, yeah.
I mean, after today, they looked a lot worse than I expected. I don't think that was a clean win on their part. I think that a lot of it came from misplays on Rogue's part, and some of the players on Rogue were playing better. We actually skipped the Vitality versus SK Gaming.
Oh, no. I said SK beat Vitality.
Yeah, but we didn't really talk about it.
I think Vitality got... It's the same thing. The bot lane is starting to become a little bit more heavier to carry.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
Cabochard and Jujuke played
they played really well today, but that just wasn't enough. Honestly, I think that the biggest problem with this team is going to be the spot lane at this point. Like, I think that Attila once out of laning phase is fine, but he's really just not making it, man. He's just getting put too far behind. I think a lot of it comes off of Jack Troll's inability to actually lane properly.
Well, they blame Mowgli for not giving the bot lane resources.
Well, Mowgli is just not working out, man. Who expected him to? He's an aggressive early game jungler who's going to rely on essentially what I would say is like he's mechanically good, but his biggest thing is early game aggression, and he can't really do that if he's not synergizing. But
Vitality's a team for that, though.
Well, no,
they're known for early game aggression.
It doesn't matter if he can't speak English well. Like, I'm sorry, but if Mowgli can't properly convey what he's about to do, which I think is going to be the biggest problem because it seems like a lot of his things are kind of not working out with the team's like ideals. Like the way it doesn't look like
he's trying to play is a lot different than what they're trying to play.
Well, I mean,
kind of like KT Rolster. There's just a slight disconnect between what he wants to do and what they want to do.
And a big problem with it is it seems like he's not actually like everything he does seems like it's not getting followed up. So I think a big problem is probably the communication. So Vitality is not going to be this best third place. I think they have a lot of strengths. Top and mid are like two of the best at their roles. They're not the best, but they're two in the top. But again, I think the weakness in bot lane's early game and Mowgli's inability to actually really talk with his team well enough is going to be the biggest detriment to this team.
Well, Selfmade was ganking bot a lot, and we never saw Mowgli go down there.
And if I see Fnatic play well tomorrow, I would say that they're probably going to end up third at this point because they looked extremely...
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that.
They're not going to get to third place, but... Again, if they win tomorrow in a convincing fashion, I would say they're probably going to be in the top 3 in my opinion. Because Misfits doesn't look great. Team Vitality has clear defined weaknesses that I think that Young Buck is going to be able to exploit once this team kind of gets back together. Yeah, and I could see I think the biggest problem they're going to have is with Origen. Again, is going to be with Schalke because they're going to lose in lanes. Like Nemesis looked pretty good today. I mean, I could see this being the turning point of the year, and I could see Vitality falling down to 5th place. Like, at this point, just the way they're playing, it just doesn't look incredibly good.
And then, well, you guys kind of seen it today. As per my video, almost spoiled it, but the game came out before I put the video. It was G2 and Misfits. They just clapped them.
Yeah, again, what I was talking about earlier.
Misfits' issue is something a lot of the pros have brought up. They really only know how to play through Hansama, and if they don't do that, they just lose. That's just what the team is.
I mean,
they ban out Draven, Lucian, the team falls apart. I don't know how that's even possible. A team can only function on 2 picks.
I think he's going to be fine now that the meta's kind of shifted back to crit ADCs, but I think that he was just outclassed this game. I think that Misfits Gaming just is not good enough to compete with GT right now. So, I think that...
it's the first round robin. G2 has beaten every single team.
I'm not really impressed right now. I don't think a lot of them put up enough of a fight. I think that as it stands, they're going to have a little bit more trouble trying to beat these teams later on. So I'd like to see one undefeated team to come from every single region. That'd be exciting. But because then like if one of those teams actually loses, then they start falling apart because they don't know how to deal with the loss. Except for China, because
China's Fun plus Phoenix is undefeated.
I don't care.
Power ranked at like 5th. I think
they're still 5th or 6th place in my opinion. I'm sorry, they beat JD Gaming, who had two starters out.
They didn't play.
Yeah, a lot of their teams. Yeah, they had 2 people injured.
Oh yeah.
They have honestly.
And they haven't played RNG yet. Who after yesterday looked incredible.
But I'm saying I'm not too convinced on Funplex Phoenix being a top team still. I think a lot of their teams have come off the back of a lot of the teams underperforming and just situations that have been good for them.
Or maybe you're just mad because you didn't put them at least number 2.
I guarantee they're going to be either 5th or 6th place by the end of the season.
Or actually, even out of the main regions, you think they're probably going to, if you take away G2, you think they're going to lose the first game first?
If Funplex Phoenix goes,
yeah,
they'll get stomped by all the first place teams.
Oh no! If you had to pick putting Funplex Phoenix in the undefeated conversation like Griffin,
I'm not putting them in that. They're not as good.
No, but you would peg them to lose a game first.
First, yeah, they're probably gonna lose a game soon,
or a series is best of 5.
So I think that again we didn't really go too much into depth, but Misfits Gaming I think that the biggest weakness is probably going to be coming out of the mid lane, which is kind of surprising. Because he's just not as incredibly talented as I expected him to be.
I mean, I think he's talented. I just think that the problem with him is just people can just outplay him. Like there's people just better than him.
Well, that just means he's a problem.
Good.
He's good enough.
But there's people that are just better. Like it happens with every single sports team. You can have good players, but there can be just people better than you.
Well, the thing about it is the difference between him and the best players is too big. This is supposed to be a team competing for first place. And just with the level that Featherven's playing at right now, I do not see them getting to that point. I think that Maxlore played terrible today. That was horrible.
I mean, everybody looks horrible on Karthus Jungle. Karthus Jungle has the same problem that Victor does.
I mean,
it's just not good.
It is actually good. I think that if you like, Karthus Jungle can 100% get you the win by itself if you play it well enough. And I think that a lot of it comes down to.
To be fair, Elise, Jankos played Elise the way you're supposed to play Elise.
Jankos was the best player on the team today.
I mean, if he didn't play Elise the way he was supposed to be, then G2 might have lost. But to be fair, their team is Misfits just only know how to play through Hansama. That's all. If you look back at their wins, which were decent. I mean, who they win by? Who they went off of? They went off of bot lane winning.
I mean, I think that's a lot of the aggression that Hansama and Ignar kind of put into lane. But I think a lot of it comes down to they should have a secondary carry, but Featherven's just not playing up to that standard. So was supposed to
be that.
No, it was supposed to be Featherven. That's why they got him. So is supposed to be the competent tank player. And
Maxlore supposed to be the first best jungler. Oh crap!
He was not supposed to be the first best.
First best? Dang.
He was
English is not good on our parts.
That's not even bad. What? Whatever. So let's get into the. We're getting.
He never wants to fist bump with me.
So essentially, what we're going to be doing is getting into the next games, which is going to be week 5 day 2.
Second round robin. So now you're going to get rematches of every single previous week. So that will fall into this week. So every single team that you've seen face each other before, we get a rematch of the very first week of the EULCS. SK and Fnatic both have looked substantially different from their first week. Fnatic kind of looking like they're on an upward trajectory.
I mean, again, it's only one game. Can't really
base it off one game.
It's one game, but
SK Gaming looked good in their game against Vitality with the new coach. So we said Fnatic were going to win this one last time, and
I think that Fnatic's going to win this one again. Honestly, I think that Fnatic.
I'm gonna say SK is going to win this one.
Well. Yeah, maybe. But I think that Fnatic honestly looked pretty okay in the win last week. Like, their wins have come pretty recently, and I think that SK Gaming has kind of been faltering a little bit recently. Again, with the introduction of the crit back into the scene, I think that ADC is going to have a lot more prominent roles. It's not going to be like a prominent role inside of the team itself. That's going to put SK Gaming at a very big disadvantage because their bot lane is terrible. I think that Selfmade is going to be the rookie of the split, and what does that mean? I don't think that's going to be enough because Broxa is playing okay right now.
Well, I didn't think that EU would be going by that Korean vote where the whole player voted thing. Like, I mean, yeah, Selfmade's the most valuable player of his team, but is he in turn the most valuable player in out of the regular split? Probably not. In my opinion.
He's definitely not.
I would say that still. I'd say that Cap still should get it a second time in a row. Dude, he got it. Yeah, I would say Cap should get it again. That's just my personal opinion, but I still don't think. I never thought they would go to that MVP voting system. It's so stupid.
It's stupid, but again, I think that SK Gaming is going to be.
I think they'll beat Fnatic again. I think Fnatic haven't shown much, because the wins that they got were against bottom tier teams, and some of those didn't even look good in general.
I'm sorry, with the introduction of crit back into the scene, I could easily. I mean, again, the biggest weakness of SK Gaming is going to be their bot lane. With ADCs being empowered this specific patch, they're not going to compete with Fnatic.
I think Selfmade exerts more pressure than Broxa enough early on to make a big of a difference.
Well, I mean, again, I think that Nemesis also looked really good in these past weeks. I mean, honestly, throughout the entire year, I think he's looked fine.
But he's not like a early game dictator like Selfmade is.
It doesn't matter. I'm saying Broxa. I mean, what's it called? Nemesis is 100%. I think he's gonna beat Pyrion in the lane at this point. I think that
Pyrion's not good.
Pyrion's not great. I mean, he's played pretty average this year, but I think that Nemesis is just genuinely better at this point.
And then next game we got Splyce and Excel. This is gonna be probably the longest game of the split. Holy crap! This is terrible.
Splyce needs to learn how to close out the game. I think they're gonna win this, but
Splyce will probably win.
I'm gonna say might win. I really do think Excel has a good chance against this team. because they've had some pretty okay when they get the lead. I think they've kind of pushed it a little decently, but again, they just don't have the players to do it. I don't like the way, again, with them replacing Exile. I think they're in a really bad spot right now because I was not too impressed with Special. So all around, I think the Splyce is gonna win this, but Exile definitely has a chance.
Yeah, I think this is the thing. Are Excel's players competent enough to stop Splyce's late game drafting?
It's not about stopping them. It's more so about the fact that if they get ahead, I think they could probably push a win because Splyce's ability to kind of stall is not incredibly good. I think that's what they attempt to do pretty much every game, but they're only really decent at it when it's ahead, and they shouldn't be doing that from ahead. So I think that Splyce all around is just not one of the top teams, so I think they could easily lose to what I would say is the very best bottom tier team. Oh, actually, that was probably SK. But I'm gonna say Splyce wins this because I think this the level of their players in general is just better. But Excel definitely has a chance here.
Yeah, I'll say that too. This was our match of the week when the split first started. Schalke versus Vitality. To be fair, he won. He got it right, but that was the closest game of the day. It was literally just a Baron call that ruined it. They were going neck and neck, but remember that's week 1. We're in week 5 now. The teams have looked substantially different. Like I said, we shouldn't put too much emphasis on week 1 because things drastically changed by then, and now we can see who the better team is, and that's definitely Schalke. Holy crap!
They're only 1 game up.
I think Schalke is substantially just. I think it's still gonna be close. It's still gonna be a really close game, but I think Schalke is still gonna beat them.
I think that another team where this is gonna be a big detriment is gonna be the bot lane. Attila Jackal versus Upset in Ignar.
I don't think Ignar looked great.
I think he's looked great this year. I think he's looked fine.
I think he's looked better than Gorilla.
I mean,
but I think he's not like a threat like he used to be.
I think he's looked fine. I'm really not agreeing with it. Like I think he's looked like one of the better supports. I think that Schalke is going to be, honestly, the biggest reason as to why I think they're going to win this is just the gigantic difference in bot, which I think that Upset Ignar is going to be the best bot lane in EU, while I think that Attila Jackal is a decent ADC support duo.
They're the guard bot lane in my opinion. They're the bot lane that can beat the lower tier bot lanes, but when it comes to top tier bot lanes, they just lose.
I think that again, Vitality's strength in the bot lane, which I think is kind of bad. I think that Splyce and Vitality should switch bot lanes, honestly, because Splyce's bot lane is kind of aggressive early, and I think they try and scale towards late game. Whereas I think that Attila Jackal is really passive early, but they try and get to that late game, and I think that if these teams swap, they'd both be in a better spot right now.
Oh, maybe it's because they're both yellow, bees and snakes stinging you.
But I think that I would like to see.
This is the issue. Vitality's best players are just going to get matched by Schalke's players. Cabochard and Odomamne are pretty even, and I mean Cabochard's it's still probably better.
I would say Odomamne is playing a little bit better because I've seen a lot of misplays in terms of just Cabochard towards the recency.
But he's trying to do things for his team to get them into a better position. That's always going to look bad, though.
No, it's not always going to look bad. I think that a large problem when he got stopped by Prophet
or
Expect, that was just unacceptable. That's not a good enough top laner to do that to you. I think that Odomamne has really not had a bad game yet. I think that he's also
no, he had one against Origen. Remember? He had one against Origen.
Do you remember who he played?
I forgot what lane it was in. I forgot the game itself. Yeah, he played really abysmal against Origen.
Oh, yeah, he had to, okay.
He played abysmal. Cabochard just doesn't lose lane. Odomamne has been... Frost scaring. Hey, that's Dracos. Who you guys think is cuter, Dracos or me? What? Oh, yeah, he got... Yeah, here's the thing. You can exploit Odomamne in lane. I don't think you can exploit Cabochard.
I disagree. I think that his laning has been pretty decent this year. I think that the biggest problem was that specific matchup is terrible.
I don't know why they would put Odomamne on Rise.
It's not Rise, more so. His Kennen is pretty decent into Rise. I think that he was trying to pick that to kind of be able to push against him, but again, Rise is not capable of beating Kennen early on.
Yeah.
So I think, again, I think this is going to be a pretty even matchup. I'm not sure who's the better top laner right now. I think Cabochard and Odomamne are pretty even, if anything. So it's going to be on the day.
This is the thing, Vitality's style has just been matched. It's you can take last year's Vitality and just put it in Schalke, and then Schalke just plays more smarter on the map with better players. Well, except for the mid lane.
So I do think Schalke is going to win this, but I think it's mostly going to be coming out of bot lane because I think everybody else is pretty matched evenly.
You're saying Vitality going 0-2 this week?
Yeah, I do. I think they'll probably lose this.
I don't want to put them to... That's the thing. I don't want them to lose to Schalke, though. Because I think that
it's not about who you want. It's who do you think is going to win.
That's the thing. Schalke has shown points where they just get ran over. Like, they've gotten ran over by Origen and G2. They should have never lost to Origen.
Okay, Origins came off the back of what I would... came off the back of just smart play by Origen, taking advantage of situations that they misplayed on with Ignar kind of trying to roam. I don't think that Team Vitality's ability...
Jacktal's not going to roam.
It's not about roaming. It's more so I don't see them taking advantage of situations like that. I think that was just smart play by Origen. And it was just a couple mistakes by Schalke.
And plus, Origen normally just don't play like that.
It wasn't really more...
we haven't seen him play like that since then.
I mean, it was really just misplays on Schalke's part, mostly.
Schalke? So, do you want tickets for your Schalke hype train?
I mean...
Choo-choo!
Stop being weird, man.
Alright, next game, Misfits versus Rogue. Misfits win. Alright, video's over.
You didn't... If you make that joke one more time, I swear. You didn't even pick anybody out of Schalke.
I said Schalke was going to win the first part of when we did a prediction. I said, remember, and Schalke win this time around. Because they did play a really close game the first time around, but it's like Memento said it like on PGL this week. It was like, when they were doing Baron, they're like, oh, we can't do this at 30 minutes. Hey, I'm peacing out. Like, who part-time person thinks like that?
Right. So Misfits doesn't look incredible. I don't think they're one of the top teams. I do think they're a mid-tier team, but again, Rogue is just terrible. I don't think this is really comparable.
Bounce back game for them?
I think I'm really hoping Rogue is setting something up for next week with a lot of these, like, because Prophet looked pretty good on this team with a lot of these replacements. So I'm really hoping this is just off the back of an incoming pick, but I don't see Rogue doing well. I don't see them beating this team as it stands right now because it's pretty much Vander Kikis and no one else is playing well.
Yeah, and they have Senkux. It's too heavy.
HQ is the biggest problem here.
HQ's like two bags of luggage with bricks in them.
HQ is like 5 times worse than Senkux. Senkux is like, if he was your worst player, who cares? He's not.
Because his style does work on certain teams.
Yeah,
but HQ is like, why is this guy even like in the league? But last game, G2 versus Origen. Do you think G2 can give... I think Origen can beat G2.
Origen is a smart team, and I think that they have a lot of strengths, like in terms of that, but they just don't have the laners. They just can't keep up. I don't think they're good enough. Like pretty much in the jungle is their strongest point, so I could see maybe some like advantages being taken, but I think that G2's ability to kind of, what I would say was a really volatile draft last game against like Misfits, a team that's pretty decent. They picked an Elise and made it work out well, which is really good.
I haven't seen Elise since like, holy crap.
Yankos looks like one of the best junglers, if not the best jungler right now.
They have a bot laner.
Wonder looks like the best top, if not one of the best tops.
They have a mid laner who they put in bot lane who can play mid laners, so you don't know what you're going to draft against them.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in pretty much every aspect, G2 just has the best players.
And Origen played way too slow for G2 not to play fast enough to close out the game.
I think that Origen, if G2 makes mistakes, can take advantage of it. I think they're one of the few teams I could say do that, but Origen's just not going to win. Like, I'd like to say they could win just based off their intelligent... It's not insanely intelligent, but they're pretty decently intelligent play.
I think G2's... Well, like when I talked about today, I think that G2's only win is going to... G2's... Maybe their first loss comes next week when they play Schalke. I think Schalke is the only competent team enough this time around to give them their first loss. But that's next week. That's week 6 at a certain point. So, yeah. We're at the second round robin, guys. So, every team's going to get their rematches. So, I mean, G2 have to win 9 more games in a row. But I just don't see, like, them... Origen played way too slow for G2 style to lose to that.
I agree.
If G2 start playing slow, and Origen maybe get their little lucky win, I don't think that would be any indicator that Origen is better. I think that would be an indicator that G2 just underperforms. Because I think if Origen wins, people would be quick to say that, oh yeah, Origen played really well and G2 just started downward trajectory. Let's hit the panic button.
I mean, we have to give credit. I'm not going to say anything until the game happens.
Yeah.
But it's very possible that's the case.
I think Caps is going to... he's not going to... Who knows? Caps didn't win
Caps is not going to stomp Nuke Tech. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
This is the one person that I say I don't believe that. I don't believe he's gonna stomp Nukeduck. I don't think he's that good. I think he's good, but he's not capable of stomping Nukeduck. He's not by far no way the best.
If they give Nukeduck like some late game mid lane champion, then maybe.
I just don't see it. Like Nukeduck and Jukse are two capable mid laners that I could see going head to head with him.
I think Origen losing top, bot, especially bot. Oh my goodness, they're gonna roll over them. That's crazy. Like I don't see Pat. The problem with G2 is the drafting. Like Perks is gonna play anything. You know, you're not. They said they haven't even picked the stuff they want to pick yet. They have styles and strats they haven't even used yet. So we don't even know what their final form is gonna look like. You know.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. We covered all of the games.
Are we supposed to do North America
in this exact video?
No. Are we supposed to do North America next? Have we didn't?
I don't think we've done a single NA one, so probably have to do this.
Oh yeah, I told you to do. We should do that earlier in the week.
I was tired.
And he was. Oh yeah, he's better, guys.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you have any disagreements in the comment, don't feel free to. Because I don't want anybody to disagree with me. So
I mean, I'm always right. You guys, I think who's had more better EU predictions from now on? Is it me?
You said Schalke was going to be 6th, and I said they're going to be 2nd.
I said 5th.
Yeah, so probably not you.
Oh.